This week in Westford Cat News, the community gardeners kick off the spring planting season. Parks and Rec commissioners begin discussions on Forge Beach improvements. And our Main Street show highlights the Westford Charitable Foundation.
Lori Cagano and her husband, Herb, founded the foundation. I want to say it's been 20 years because the road race has been around for 20 years. Mm-hmm.
Welcome to Westford Cat News. I'm Nancy Burns, a Westford Cat board member. Before we get started, I'd like to remind you to sign up for our email alerts to get our latest Westford news articles. Just visit westfordcatnews.org and click on the red subscribe button in the upper right corner. Do you have a local issue that you want others to know more about? Our news director, Joyce Polino-Crane, would like to hear about it and perhaps collaborate on telling your story. Email jcrane@westfordcat.org to team up. Now here's News Director Joyce Polino-Crane with a report on an early morning Selectmen's dangerous dog hearing.
Thanks, Nancy. A public hearing designed to determine the fate of 2 dogs living on Wilson Farm Road ended in Selectmen's unanimous decision to remove the dogs from the neighborhood by 11 a.m. on May 3rd. A follow-up public hearing will take place in 2 weeks. The dogs killed a 6-pound toy poodle belonging to Evgeny Balin and Polina Kaklina. The incident took place on April 17th. Here's Selectman Chairman Mark Cost spelling out the terms of the agreement made with the dog's owner, Haley Gallagher. The hearing took place on May 2nd.
The dogs killed another dog with an ownership that we felt wasn't controlling their animals in a way that was appropriate. So the discussion revolved around what the next steps were, and because of Massachusetts state laws, taking a particular stance would have forced us into a particular situation that we wanted to try to find an agreement with the owners of the dogs on. And the agreement that was reached is basically staying a final decision for 2 weeks, where within 24 hours those 2 dogs will be placed into Groton's animal control facility. During those 2 weeks, the dogs will be evaluated by a professional animal behavioral specialist, with a requirement that that home not bring any additional dogs to that property. And on May 16th at 8 a.m., we will continue this discussion based on the findings of the professional animal behaviorist and make a determination at that point in which way we want to go. So this accomplishes a couple things. One, it determines whether the dogs are mainly at issue or whether it's the ownership that's mainly at issue before we take that next act. It protects the neighborhood from years of concern that they've had about these dogs running free and harming individuals and other animals. And it allows for us to get all of that feedback and make a determination, a final determination on May 16th on what the appropriate next steps are.
Thank you. Here's Baylin reflecting on the board's decision.
The fact that they're gone from the neighborhood, I'm very relieved to see that. What I'm not satisfied entirely is I wish there was a way to prevent Haley, who was present today, from actually owning dogs or any other pets, really. She doesn't care for them. By the way, the first chance she had to dump these dogs, she just jumped on it. This is not love. This is not how you care for animals, and it's just they take already troubled animals from shelters. By the way, always in pairs, which is very convenient for attack, and they never give them proper training. There was no certificate. They don't even keep track of what dogs they had in their house or not.
The location of the May 16th public hearing is yet to be determined. Selectmen Scott Hazelton and Tom Clay left the meeting before a vote was taken. You can watch the entire meeting at westfordcat.org. Back to you, Nancy.
The season opening day for the town's community gardeners is Saturday, May 4th. A Facebook post is reminding participants that there will be mulch to spread, a rodent fence to attach, and other prep work. Gardeners are asked to bring wheelbarrows, rakes, and work gloves. The garden plots cover just under 2 acres of town-owned land off Graniteville Road. About 150 gardeners work the land each season, according to the town website. The garden was established in 2015. Since then, a well was added to the grounds with water taps throughout. WestfordCAT will check back with the gardeners in a few weeks to keep you updated on the growing season. And now for our feature of the week. The Westford Charitable Foundation's annual road race takes place on Sunday, May 5th. The event is organized by Lori and Herb Cogliano. Funds raised benefit many nonprofit organizations in town. News Director Joyce Polino-Crane sat down on April 25th with 3 representatives of organizations that have benefited. Here, Marianne Seraphin, Executive Director of the Westford Parent Connection, gives an overview of the foundation. Seraphin helps to publicize the road race.
Lori Cogliano and her husband, Herb, founded the foundation. I want to say it's been 20 years because the road race has been around for 20 years. As a means to, they felt as though their family had been very blessed and they wanted to give back to the community. Don't want to put words into her mouth, but I think that's how she feels, like she's able to give back. If you can, you should. And she's raised hundreds of thousands of dollars over the years for various organizations. There's a couple of dozen organizations who've benefited from her work.
And she has a road race. The road race is coming up May 5th, Sunday, May 5th. I know the roads are closed beginning like at 2 o'clock.
Actually, the race itself starts at 2, but people can register from 11:30 on if they haven't already.
And that's usually a huge turnout.
People come from all over.
Yeah. And then from that one event, she raises the money for her budget for that year and then doles it out.
Here's Jennifer Claro, Director of the Cameron Senior Center, detailing how WCF funds help Westford seniors and others.
We have received funding that provides opportunities for older adults that are residents of the town to be able to participate in different classes and programs. It just opens the door for everyone to be able to have an equal opportunity to participate in things perhaps that maybe financially one would not be able to do otherwise. So that's really important. And I know they've also contributed to our many of our meal programs that we offer at the Cameron Senior Center just by providing a subsidy. So again, people at every realm of their social economic status can again participate and just enjoy one another's company. Each year we do see Lori usually around Christmas time. She comes into the center with checks, and one of the real big fundraisers that she has done for us as far as raising money is to support our holiday food basket program, which impacts many families in Westford. It provides food for families to have a memorable Thanksgiving meal together, as well as a holiday meal around Christmas time, and provides presents for children that would not be able to get presents after all. And I think that might be a little bit surprising, but one would say, well, how would you qualify? How do you know that these families have a need? But these are individuals, their families, their children are on the free and reduced lunch programs in the schools. These are older adults that receive fuel assistance to help with heat and cooling during the winter and summer months. Individuals that receive food stamps here in the community, as well as live in income-based housing. So again, it provides many with opportunities that perhaps they would not have otherwise.
In 2007, Stephanie McElligott and her husband lost their 5-month-old son, Ronan, to a rare metabolic disease. Here's her story and explanation on how the WCF helped.
So as many people in the community know, our son passed away in 2007 as an infant, our son Ronan, from a very rare metabolic disease. And even though he was an infant and of course wasn't able to use a playground at that age, his disease kind of raised our awareness of disabilities and what children really struggle with. Older kids, when they go to a traditional playground and aren't able to use them. And it was shortly after he had passed away, I had taken our older daughter, Bryn, who was about 2.5 at the time, to a nearby playground. And she was running around doing what 2-year-olds do. And all I could do was look around and realize that there was very little that he would have been able to do had he still been alive. He wouldn't have been able to join her. He would have sat in a stroller or a wheelchair. And at the time, we didn't know anything about handicapped accessible or what they call barrier-free playgrounds. So I remember calling my husband that day and saying, I have this idea. And so we started doing some research, and I found an organization that kind of guides communities in building what they call barrier-free playgrounds, giving us the input that we needed, helping us design the equipment, the surfacing, basically the whole thing to meet the needs of the community, so that, not just for a handicapped child, but for the entire family. Or even as we were talking about earlier, if there's a handicapped parent or grandparent, it makes it easier for them to take their children to a playground. So, and of course, we're very grateful for the foundation's support and the whole community's support that allowed us to meet our goal many years ago.
The road race is now in its 20th year, according to the Foundation's website. The Foundation has raised approximately $350,000 through the years, according to Seraphin. Visit roadrace.westford.org for a list of benefactors. Landscape architect Sherry Ruane from Boston-based Weston & Sampson presented plans on April 29th for the first phase of rehabilitating Forge Pond. Town meeting voters in March approved an allocation of $770,000 from community preservation funds, and state legislators approved a fiscal 2019 budget that included $100,000 for the purchase and construction of a playground there and improvements to the beach. Ruane presented 3 playground structures at different price points from 2 companies, Compan of Bristol, Connecticut, and O'Brien & Sons of Medway, Massachusetts. The commission members will meet again on Monday, May 20th at 6:30 p.m. in the Rowdenbush Community Center. Chairman Casey Caviston said he expects the commission to vote on a design that evening. WestfordCAT will bring you updates. Now here's Superintendent Bill Olson with news about the school department.
Hi, this is Superintendent Bill Olson with a school system update. Well, we're approaching the end of the school year. Not quite yet, but it's the end of April, early May when we're filming this particular episode. We've had a busy year, and we'll have a busy remainder of the year. Our students have recently finished MCAS testing, and this was the first year that all students took the test online, using a computer, certainly, and no more paper and pencil. So we're interested to see the results and see how the results compare to prior years when some students took paper and pencil exams. The carnival is occurring again this year. There was some question as to whether or not after last year it was going to continue, because it was growing larger and larger in terms of participation. The Kiwanis membership was declining slightly. So they sought input from the community, and the town of Westford said, we definitely want the carnival activities and apple blossom activities and festivities to continue. So this year, the Apple Blossom Festival will take place again. The carnival will be at the Abbott School parking lot from May 15th through May 19th. That's a Wednesday through a Sunday. On Friday night, the 17th, there'll be fireworks. There'll be a parade. Also kicking off the Apple Blossom Festival on Saturday. And it was always said that with respect to the parade, this is a small town parade and it's always enjoyable. And someone from the Kiwanis last year was stating that half the people in Westford watch the parade along the route, and the other half are actually participating in the parade between scouts, brownies, fire trucks, emergency vehicles, town employees, the boards, committees, administration. It's a classic example of a beautiful small town America event, and we all look forward to it each and every year. So this is Bill Olson. I look forward to seeing you for maybe one or two final times during this school year in my updates. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Peace and Harmony are a bonded pair of ring-necked doves available now for adoption at the Lowell Humane Society. Here's WestfordCAT's production coordinator, Patty Stocker, with more.
Add a little peace and harmony to your life with this pair of ring-necked doves. They're available now for adoption at the Lowell Humane Society. Here's the shelter's marketing and fundraising manager, Crystal Arnott, with more.
Hi, so we have two beautiful ring-necked doves today. They are Peace and Harmony. They're a pair of doves that had come to us a few years ago, and we adopted them out to a wonderful adopter, but unfortunately recently his health has declined and he's no longer able to care for them. So they're back here with us looking for another home. These two are very bonded. They love each other and spend time together. They snuggle together. Doves can typically reach up to 15 years in captivity. There are even reports that many have lived even more years than that, up to 20 to 25 years. They are native to Africa, but it's not unusual to find them wild in the southern part of the US, as well as in the northern states at times as well, but they do prefer the warmer weather. Unlike other birds like parrots and things like that you might find, they don't climb the cage the way that those birds would. These guys like to spread their wings and fly a bit. So this cage is a little on the small side. They would prefer a wider cage where they can spread their wings and have a little bit more flight access, as well as having some access to fly out of the cage in a room as well. They do enjoy their perch. We usually recommend that they have two perches, a lower perch and a higher perch. But they are generally ground creatures and spend a lot of time on the floor of their cage as well. So you want to make sure they have plenty of room. They do like to splash around in a little pool, so we always like to provide them water, a big bowl of water as well as their drinking water. And it's also important for them to have the right diet. They really do enjoy eating millet, and we also feed them canary seed. And they also are a bird that requires grit as well. They eat their seed whole, so they need grit as well so they can process those seeds a little bit better. In addition to their general seed, they do also like to eat greens, and it's really important that they get enough calcium. So they do recommend that they have a calcium supplement as well. A lot of people don't realize that they're actually very social birds, and once you spend time with them and bond, they really will bond to an owner, and they can be quite affectionate. Many people report that as they've gotten closer with their birds and the birds are more comfortable with them, that their doves will come out of their cage and actually sit and snuggle like a cat would on your lap. They'll climb up on your shoulder or your neck and snuggle right under your chin. And of course, they make these beautiful cooing sounds. You definitely need to be prepared for the cooing because they will coo all day. They'll often quiet down at night when it gets dark, but they do coo quite a bit of the day.
If you think you'd like to provide peace and harmony with their forever home, or would like more information on donating to or volunteering at the Lowell Humane Society, visit them Tuesday through Sunday at 951 Broadway Street in Lowell, or go to lowellhumanesociety.org. Call 978-452-7781. You can also find them on Facebook. For Westford Cat, I'm Patty Stalker.
Here's hoping the past week's raw weather will give way to sun and warmth. Let's see what weather.com is forecasting as we head into the weekend. Here's WestfordCAT board member Betsy Alvarez with suggestions for things to do in the area.
Thanks, Nancy. Author Cheryl Major will discuss her book, Eat Your Blues Away, at the J.V. Fletcher Library on Thursday, May 9 at 7 p.m. Major is a certified nutrition and wellness consultant who writes a column for WestfordCAT News and is the host and producer of Thin, Strong, Healthy on WestfordCAT. Her book chronicles how dietary changes brought her to recovery after years of chronic depression. Major calls her transformation accidental and life-changing. She'll share the steps she took and provide important information about how food affects us mentally and physically. The program is for ages 14 and older, and admission is free. To register, visit westfordlibrary.org or call Information Services at 978-399-2304. Are you a jazz enthusiast? The Luna Collective will perform the music of Art Blakely at Indian Hill Music in Littleton on Friday, May 10 at 7:30 p.m. This Boston quintet recreates the vibe of the classic Blue Note Jazz Club in New York City's Greenwich Village. Tickets are $15 each. Purchase them by visiting indianhillmusic.org or clicking on Jazz at Indian Hill. Westford Garden Club members are holding their annual fashion show fundraising event on Thursday, May 9 from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Chelmsford Elks Club. In addition to the runway walks, attendees can participate in a silent auction and raffle. Refreshments will be provided. Proceeds will support ongoing landscaping projects around Westford. Tickets are $25 each and can be purchased at the door or in advance by calling 978-392-9765. I am Betsy Alvarez, a WestfordCAT board member. Back to you, Nancy.
That's it for now, Westford. We leave you with signs of spring around town. Some of the images were taken by Westford residents. Many thanks to all who contributed through Facebook. Have a great week, Westford.